Hello everybody. So basically I have a 2001 Subaru Forester, and it's the L series, and it has I believe a broken timing belt. It died on the road. I was at a stop sign and it just cut off and wouldn't cut back on. It would crank, but I mean it would turn over, but it wouldn't turn on, and it just wouldn't do anything. The battery's not dead, nothing's wrong with it. It's just dead basically. But I think the timing belt is broken, so you probably hear that dripping sound. That's me, well, not me, but that's the car draining the coolant. I drained the coolant basically. You want to start with draining the coolant because you got to take the radiator out if you want to be able to get in there and get access to the timing belt. There's a little drain plug on the passenger side of the car. There's a little drain plug. You just loosen it, lefty loosey, and it'll come right out, and you can drain all of your coolant out. That way you can get your lower and upper radiator hoses out. That way you can take this off radiator and the fan, and take that off. This fan here stopped running. I need to get a new fan for it also. It turned on my check engine light. Timing belt is down there. It's hard to see it, the little light I have, but that's where my finger is, if you can see it. Or here, right here. Timing belt's in there. I just gotta take all this, take this belt off, take the pulleys off, take these pulleys off, take that off, take this hose off, of course, with the radiator. That way I can get this cover, timing belt cover, off and see if the belt is broken or if it's another issue, which I think it is the belt. And if it was the belt, this engine is what they call an interference engine. Some are non-interference. If it's non-interference, your belt will break, and I think your cylinder heads will be fine. I think that's what it is. But when it's an interference like my car, and the belt breaks, 95% of the time, or probably 99% of the time, the belt will break, and you'll also ruin or bend the cylinder heads. So I'm gonna see what happens and see if I can get this apart after I finish letting the coolant drain. After the coolant finishes draining, I'll go to the next step. Like I said, take off the hoses, the lower and upper radiator hoses. Here's the upper radiator hose, if you're not sure. That's the upper radiator hose. Just get that guy off, real easy. Just Phillips head screw, pull it off. Take this line, return line to the reservoir off. Oh, this has to come off too. Your coolant reservoir tank. It just unscrews here and here, 2 bolts, and I think that's it. And it just pulls out. It's real easy. Doing this yourself will save you, if not a couple $1,000. So if you don't know how to do this, get a friend that does, a mechanic or somebody. And if he's an honest person, he'll help you. for free or something, give you a deal. Anyway, let's see what happens.